Welcome to the new IBExpert and Firebird video tutorial series. In this first tutorial, we will present Firebird installations for professionals. Installing a Firebird server is not particularly difficult. Simply go to the Firebird website at www.firebirdsql.org and download your preferred choice of Firebird server. On the Firebird homepage, you will find the download links for the current recommended server versions. Here, for example, we have the current release, Firebird 2.1.3. On the download page, you will find all release packages, for example, Firebird 1.5, or the current Firebird 2.5 candidate release. To save time, I have already downloaded a number of files for various Firebird versions ready for installation. You can see the different files here. We begin with Firebird 1.5, available for Windows 32-bit and for Linux. In this tutorial, we will be concentrating on the Windows versions. Firebird 1.5 comes in two flavors. Firstly, as a zip file, which contains a number of files and is here the recommended flavor, as we are going to install a number of Firebird servers. You will see the advantages of this as we go along. For those of you who only wish to install a single Firebird server, you should download the exe file, which leads you through the Firebird setup with just a few mouse clicks or simply using the Enter key to install your server. If you are not restricted by your software application, which requires you to install the 1.5 version, you should download the currently recommended 2.1 version, as this offers a number of advantages and is, in most cases, faster than 1.5. Firebird 2.1 is available for 64-bit and 32-bit systems and is also offered as a zip and an executable. Furthermore, there is, in addition to the workgroup server we will be looking at here, a so-called embedded version, which is only used in certain situations. I will explain more about this version and the difference to the workgroup server in a separate tutorial video. I will first demonstrate the 32-bit version for Windows. The newest version, Firebird 2.5, is currently, at the time of recording this tutorial in September 2010, at Release Candidate 3. Not necessarily recommended for production environments, but definitely recommended for those who wish to upgrade their own applications to include Firebird 2.5 functionalities. So, what have I done here? I've unpacked the various Firebird zip files into separate directories, which I have named FB21_W32, FB21_W64, and FB25_W64. If you are using a 64-bit operating system and do not have a good reason for not using the Firebird 64-bit version, then you should use it. We have carried out numerous tests which have shown that Firebird 32-bit on Windows 32-bit is approximately 15% slower than using the same hardware with a 64-bit compatible processor, 64-bit Windows and a 64-bit Firebird server. There could, however, perhaps be additional limitations caused by the software application. Not all software manufacturers support the 64-bit versions. In particular, this problem is encountered with UDF files, which can make deployment of the 64-bit Firebird somewhat difficult. But, in spite of all this, if you do have the choice, our recommendation for Windows machines is the 64-bit Firebird version. As you can see here, I am not intending to install Firebird using the setup, but have unpacked my various Firebird zip versions, each in their own directory. I have also avoided the Windows Programs directory. For those of you who are using Windows 7 or similar recent Windows versions, you will already know the problems related to certain areas in the program directories, where, even when you specify the location of file storage, Windows still stores them somewhere else. and online forums and OS documentation don't seem to offer any real help should you need to locate these lost files. We will start with the installation of Firebird 1.5, because this version, due to its age, is not capable of multiple installations. It does, however, function impeccably on even the most recent Windows versions. And multiple installations is what we intend to demonstrate in this video. You can install and run Firebird 1.5 alongside Firebird 2.1, even alongside a number of Firebird 2.1 versions, 64 and 32-bit, all on the same machine at the same time. This can be extremely helpful, for example, when you want to deploy more than one software product using the Firebird server. For each application, you can run an individual Firebird instance. It is important you alter the Firebird config file for each individual installation if you are intending to run multiple instances. Search for the remote service port. You can see in this installation that I have already altered it. I have removed the comment, that is the hash character, and have replaced the default port number 3050 with the number 3015. So, in this case, I'm installing a Firebird version 1.5, 32-bit, and, to save guessing the port number in the future, I issue each Firebird version with a port number corresponding to the server version number. You can, of course, select any port number you wish between 1024 and 65,000. You should not, however, select a port number under 1024, as these are default settings. And ports between 1024 and 5000 are also often occupied by functions in the TCP/IP protocol. Perhaps you already know, for example, that the remote desktop occupies port 3389. If you put Firebird on this port, you will end up with a client trying to access your Firebird server with the remote desktop client, which, of course, will never work. So choose your Firebird port number carefully and logically, so that it can be easily found in the future if problems do occur. The default port number 3050 is usually free, and I will choose the logical port number for Firebird 1.5 of 3015. This tutorial now continues with Firebird installations part 2.